everyone! Welcome to our What's New in SOLIDWORKS 2026 live stream. We're coming to you live from Minneapolis, Minnesota, and we're so excited to reveal the latest enhancements Hawk Ridge Systems is bringing to you hot off the press.
That's right, Tim. We literally got the green light just this morning, just a few minutes ago. So you're some of the first people in the world to see these updates.
Now, before we dive in, let's get to know each other a little better. Go ahead and drop in the chat where you're tuning in from today. And better yet, tell us what food your city is famous for.
Well, since we're here in Minneapolis, Tim, we've got hot dish, and that's casserole for everybody else, and Juicy Lucy's. And I think after this stream, you owe me at least a Lucy and a cold one.
Absolutely. So let's hear it. Where are you from, and what's the go-to food in your town? I'll have to add that lutefisk and lefse are also popular here. Not really for me.
I'm going to skip the lutefisk, Tim, but I'll take the lefse. We have Jessica from Wilmington. Hello.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
The chat comments are rolling in.
Yep.
Let me introduce myself. I'm Tim Newton, Director of Technical Sales here at Hawk Ridge Systems. And joining me today, my partner in crime, Rachel Jones. She's a content solution architect with Solid Professor. And together, we're going to walk you through the what's new in SOLIDWORKS, why it matters, and how you can get up to speed fast.
All right, so we said North Carolina. We also have Nebraska joining us, so welcome.
Ooh, seafood as a beach town. That sounds awesome.
Awesome. Someone coming from Hungary, and they cook for themselves. Nice. Nice. That's good. Always safer.
Well, here's a fun fact. Did you know that SOLIDWORKS turns 30 this year? 30. Wow.
Yeah.
That's wild. I still remember my first CAD system. It was the Etch-a-Sketch. But the first version of SOLIDWORKS I got to use was 2001 plus. And this was the release where native sheet metal first came out. You know, back then we were so stoked to design sheet metal parts parametrically in context of an assembly and flatten those parts, it seemed otherworldly. But fast forward today, SOLIDWORKS has gained so many more capabilities, and many of those are well beyond 3D modeling. You know, that same data now drives a myriad of simulation. From CFD to injection molding, electromagnetics to structural, motion, we simulate CNC machines, even your factory flow, just to name a few. We automate CAM programming in a way that updates are made easy. We connect vendors and suppliers and manage projects. You know, your design isn't just a file, it's truly the heartbeat of the whole engineering process. So what about you all? What's the first version you started with? Let me know in the chat.
2001, Tim, I totally have you beat.
Maybe, but I'll bet you we have some people in the chat who might have used this longer.
Probably. So my first exposure to SOLIDWORKS was in 1998 when I interned for an orthodontic product manufacturer. I did take a short 10-year detour through 2D CAD tools before I came back to SOLIDWORKS in 2007, 2008. So many changes happened in that time, and the software just keeps changing. All right, let's see. 2001 plus for someone else as well, for Todd.
All right, Todd.
You got a twin there. 25 years with SOLIDWORKS. Nice. Love it.
Awesome.
Love to hear it.
Some awesome prizes, including a Nintendo 64, by sharing your first design projects on SOLIDWORKS. Check out our Facebook to register for the contest, and if you win that Nintendo 64, I'd love to play you in GoldenEye. I think I still have skills there. You know, the first parts I modeled were pretty nerdy. They were the classic stress concentration problems straight out of Shigley and Mischke's engineering design. So these were super basic parts, plates with holes, step shafts. These were problems we had hand calcs to stress states on. And that enabled me to validate the FEA tools. But these days, those tools ship with a ton of validation examples.
My first SOLIDWORKS project was fixturing, and I actually don't remember too much about that. I think I may have lost some brain cells while I was doing all my 2D work. But I do remember my first project coming back to SOLIDWORKS. It was packaging for priceless payloads. These were blow molded parts that needed to have living hinges, which created some really fun design challenges that had me diving into the deep end of advanced part modeling. Before we kick things off for today, a quick reminder that Hawk Ridge and Solid Professor are collaborating to bring you the D2M Accelerate Conference coming up on October 30th. That's where we'll cover new features and dive deeper into the technical content. You'll find the link in the description below to register. Okay, Tim, what's the first big SOLIDWORKS update that we should be excited about for 2026?
You know, the first big update is updates themselves. They're happening differently now. SOLIDWORKS no longer updates just once a year with the new features added. The old way was you waited till October, like it was Christmas morning, with a Pikachu face, and then unwrap the new release, hoping it had the new features that you'd submitted enhancement requests for.
I remember that, yep.
But the new way is enhancements roll out all year long. You'll see those improvements as they're developed continuously throughout the year. So make sure you stay tuned and learn more about the enhancements as they're released. In fact, one of the coolest things added this year was the AI-enabled tool that auto-generates drawings, and that was released as a beta tool back in SP1, also known as FD01 of 2025. Now you hear us talk about these FDs. They're known as functional deliveries, and these are part of a wider development strategy at Dassault Systems. They follow the same cadence as the old service packs, but now sync up across the wider Dassault portfolio, keeping SOLIDWORKS, 3D Experience, and all of the connected tools evolving together. It's so exciting to see SOLIDWORKS now gaining access to tools that were once reserved for the world's largest and most advanced engineering teams.
Exactly. And who doesn't love the idea of Christmas all year long? Enhancements all year means faster fixes, quicker access to new tools, and way more value, like moving from waiting in line in the video store to be able to stream online. Although if I think about it, Tim, I might spend more time trying to pick something out to stream on a Friday night than I ever did standing in line at the video store.
I would agree with that.
Okay, Tim, what was your favorite enhancement that's been added? We want to hear from our audience too. Let us know in the chat something that's been your favorite from the last 30 years.
Boy, my favorite enhancement, that's kind of an easy one for me. It was the ability to save back to previous versions. Rachel, this was something I thought we would never ever see. This truly improves collaboration with users of older versions. If you missed it, back in SOLIDWORKS 2024, users gained the ability to save back to the last 2 releases. That means if you're running 2025, I can now save 2024 or 2023 files. Pretty cool. One thing to keep in mind though is that if a file from 2025 contains a feature that didn't exist in that previous version, you'll be made aware when you're saving that previous version file that it can't be preserved in the older version.
That is a really good one. I remember that I audibly and physically cheered whoop whoop in 2013 when SOLIDWORKS added input of equations into the feature manager. Being able to type equals right in that property manager as you're building your feature was a game changer, saving me tons of time and downstream headaches.
That's right. So let us know what your favorite enhancement has been in SOLIDWORKS, and we'd love to see that. So Rachel, there was one enhancement that really caught my eye this year, and that was something to increase assembly performance, which often comes up. Can you tell us a little bit about that one?
Absolutely. In 2026, you can now control whether cosmetic-only edits, like appearances, decals, planes, or reference sketches, like you see we're doing in this part here, will flag your assembly for a rebuild or not. In the past, even those harmless edits would cue a rebuild, making it confusing if a rebuild was even necessary. Meaning you might slow your design pace way down only for a simple cosmetic change. I don't know about you, but sometimes I would need to walk away and take a coffee break while my assembly was rebuilding. Cosmetic changes now show up with a bracketed asterisk instead of the rebuild icon, so you know it's just cosmetic. To enable this enhancement, you can now choose always, prompt, or never in your system options.
That's pretty cool. So now we're able to focus our rebuilds where they count most instead of burning cycles on cosmetic updates. Speaking of time savers, let's talk a little bit about configurations for a moment. This has always been one of the most powerful ways to manage design variants without creating piles of files. And I've leveraged design tables to automate the creation of literally hundreds of design variants super fast. But sometimes you need those as separate files. I'm very excited that now in SOLIDWORKS 2026, you'll be able to split configurations into individual files. So here we're going to open up this horizontal rail that has a number of different configurations built inside it, and right-clicking on one of those reveals that option to split configurations. So you're able to publish one or more configurations as separate files in a single step. And even better, enable the Update Where Used option, and SOLIDWORKS is automatically going to remap assemblies and drawings so the references stay connected. Here we've done that, and we've opened the part, and you can see it contains only the single configuration that was split out. Pretty cool.
That is a huge time saver, especially if you're working with libraries, delivering files externally, or just prefer having each variant in its own file. You now have the flexibility to work the way that fits you best.
Definitely. But for real configuration, automation, and even configure price quote, DriveWorks takes this all to the next level. You can go from inputs to fully built models, drawings, and sales documentation like quotes in minutes. It's the fastest way to turn your engineering know-how into design automation. I like to joke that it's like putting your models on Adderall.
Oh gosh.
Okay, we've looked at a few of the big enhancements, but one of the real challenges is getting up to speed quickly. I can't tell you, Rachel, how many times I've heard users over the years say to me, when did they add that? This would have changed my world. And I understand. So that's where Solid Professor training comes in, right? Rachel, can you share how you prepare users for that next version?
You know that I can, Tim. At Solid Professor, we've built a What's New in SOLIDWORKS 2026 training series. It's designed by our subject matter experts and learning team to walk you through enhancements step by step. So you won't just see what's new today, you can actually start digging into it and learning tomorrow. There's a lot of enhancements to cover, so we'll be adding new content every month now through the end of the year.
Awesome. Hey, I'm just looking at the chat, Rachel, and I wanted to just address one of the things. Well, one CFD user is saying, wow, I think that's about the split configuration stuff. That's pretty cool. But Adele Olabe asks about automatically showing screw quantity or screw sizes and their quantities in the bill of materials. So this is a bill of materials formatting issue. And what you can do is right-click inside that BOM, add additional columns, and then point those columns to the custom properties of that file. And depending on the makeup of that file, it might just be the description field and adding the quantity. And then if you want, you can save that BOM as a template and incorporate that from there on out so you don't have to take those steps. Hope that helps. Keep the chat coming to us. We love answering questions live.
Nice. I love it. Thank you, Tim. Back to a little bit about Solid Professor. If you're new and I wanted you to understand a little bit about who we are, we're an online training and platform for all things CAD, CAM, and the engineering productivity. Our goal is really simple. Help you and your team adopt updates faster and make the most out of SOLIDWORKS by digging deep into the tool. We've got content for beginners and advanced users and really everybody in between.
So whether it's rebuild controls, config splitting like we talked about, or simulation updates, you'll have guided lessons ready to go. And these are way better than paging through PDF guides. I love how those courses are broken up into bite-sized pieces so I can get what I need fast and get on with my work.
You know it. And because we use certified and elite experts with years of proven experience to curated content, our users can really rely on us as a trusted resource. Have you used Solid Professor before? Drop a yes in the chat if it's already part of your regular workflow. And if not, this is a great time to give it a try. Check out a free preview that we've linked below.
Rachel, before you even asked, I'm seeing users of Solid Professor raise their hand in the chat. So
yes, I
pretty
love
awesome.
that.
Pretty awesome.
Love it.
And speaking of leveling up, let's check out another enhancement aimed right at manufacturing. CamWorks now has dedicated support for Swiss-style CNC machines. If you've ever worked with Swiss, you know they're incredible at producing small, high-precision parts. If you haven't, this is a machine where the stock slides through the spindle. It's kind of like a lathe that feeds material through the chuck. And these are truly mechanical marvels of production. But programming has always been, well, a little bit tricky, with workarounds abound. The new CamWorks Swiss module makes that process much simpler by using automatic feature recognition, and that works on native as well as imported models. This identifies machining features, not the features used to construct the model, but manufacturing features like holes, pockets, contours. It then applies your predefined machining strategies to generate those toolpaths which can match your proven methods and capture shop's best practices for faster, more consistent results every time. And when the inevitable design change happens, those toolpaths can automatically update fast. And this is going to give you a streamlined, user-friendly way to program those machines while cutting down on setup time, reducing errors, but still handling the complex operations Swiss machines are known for.
You're exactly right, Tim. And if you're in industries like medical, aerospace, or electronics, where Swiss machines really shine, this is going to save you some serious time. Okay, speaking of precision, there's also a new enhancement in simulation that gives us a much clearer picture of how your designs behave. Tim, do you want to walk us through that one?
Absolutely. Measuring twist has always been kind of a pain. You'd look at translational displacement, then do some trig based on the geometry in your CAD model, and I'd be honest, I'm proud I could do the math, but I'd definitely rather not. But now in SOLIDWORKS 2026, simulation can plot angular rotation directly as a displacement quantity. You choose the axis, as you might have seen there, and SOLIDWORKS outputs the angular displacement about that axis. This displacement makes it very easy to evaluate torsional stiffness and compare design changes quickly.
Okay, Tim, that's great. But how about a pop quiz? SOHCAHTOA. What does the SO stand for?
Wow, that was a tool I used to get through trigonometry.
All right. Okay, I know that you know. I know. But does our audience know? If you're scratching your head to remember SOHCAHTOA, we'll pop a silly song in the chat to help you remember. Go check it out later. It's pretty fun. Okay, let's look at one last feature that's going to save you some more time. Automatic drawing creation. Through the 3D Experience add-in, you can now auto-generate drawings for parts and assemblies. You'll get standard views, section views, and whole callouts automatically placed. It first showed up in 2025, but in 2026, it's been expanded and improved. Remember we talked about those enhancements coming throughout the year. This is one of those. The benefit is you start with a clean layout that you can quickly tweak to match your templates and your standards. That means faster drawing packages and easier internal prints for configurable products.
And the best part, Rachel, is that the result is a regular drawing, just like the ones I've authored. So you have full control over adding, removing, or modifying views and annotations, but you don't have to start from scratch. It's also possible to have SOLIDWORKS generate a number of these drawings from the assembly while you continue to work as it creates those in the background.
You got that one right, Tim. It's like having an intern crank out the drawings while you get busy doing the fun stuff, except that intern doesn't need to take a lunch break.
Or complain about how many section views are required.
Very true. And maybe it'll save you enough time that you actually get to take a lunch break for yourself. Who here would let SOLIDWORKS handle your drawings in the background while you gain efficiency where it really matters?
Well, I'd definitely take you up on that.
Same.
And with that, we've covered some of the big ones today, but there's plenty more waiting in the SOLIDWORKS 2026 Design Enhancement Guide linked below, like AI that automatically recognizes and assembles fasteners, new large assembly performance tools, better ECAD, MCAD collaboration, smarter routing options, and improved rendering workflows, just to name a few. So grab that download below and see which enhancements matter most to you, because the biggest time savers may not be the ones we even showed today. It's always so hard to choose, isn't it?
It's so hard to choose. From year-round updates to smarter assemblies to config splitting, manufacturing and simulation tools, auto drawing, and much more, we've got a lot to look forward to this year.
You know, Rachel, it's been awesome in my career to see how much SOLIDWORKS has continued to evolve over that time. What really stands out is the community behind it and driving it forward. The ideas, the feedback, and the collaboration from users like you are what keeps this ecosystem moving forward.
Tim, as you know, Sol Professor, we are excited to have partnered with Hawkridge Systems this year to create all the What's New content that our audience has seen today, and that they'll get to see at D2M Accelerate coming up later this month. We'll be there for breakout sessions, and in the general session, I'll be sharing all sorts of exciting things that we've been working on. You definitely don't want to miss out.
So Rachel, you mean the same topics and files that you've seen here will also be available in Solid Professor to learn from?
That's exactly right, Tim. There's a ton more that learners can sink their teeth into once they get there as well.
So that's right, mark your calendars for October 30th. That's when Hawkridge Systems hosts D2M Accelerate, our free, web-based conference built to help you move faster, think smarter, and design better. You'll hear from industry leaders like industrial designer Jason Pohl. He was the lead designer at Orange County Choppers, if you watched that back on the Discovery Channel years ago.
Oh my gosh, Tim, talk about a hostile work environment. I thought it was tough working with you on this project.
I can be demanding. He now works at SOLIDWORKS and has his own industrial design firm where he's involved in some super cool projects, including the professional wrestling title belt.
It's pretty cool.
Totally. We'll also be joined by the team from Center for Advanced Design. They're a premier industrial design and product development firm known for turning bold ideas into manufactural products. They'll share some of their latest design projects and insights on the trends that are shaping the future of product design. Plus, explore over a dozen sessions on AI, additive manufacturing, simulation, CAM, data management,
Wow.
PCB design, design automation, and much more. Of course, there'll also be a deep dive where we thoroughly cover the new features in SOLIDWORKS 2026. So don't miss a chance to get ahead. Register today. Just click on that link below to sign up now.
Okay, before we sign off today, I want to ask the audience, just type one word in the chat. What time-saving feature are you most excited to try out? I think my favorite is that split configs, although I guess that's 2 words.
I'd say drawings, especially drawings that are AI powered and automatic are extremely interesting to me. So Rachel, it's been 30 years in, and it's incredible to see what people have built with SOLIDWORKS. Thanks for being a part of the community and spending your time with us today. Keep exploring, keep designing, and we will see you at D2M Accelerate.
Thank you.